So in this video, the first 8 minutes or so is going to be an analysis of Argentina at the 2022 World Cup, who is probably my favourite football analysis TikToker at the moment, so I'll leave links to his social media in the description, as well as Mitso Jr.'s channel where I got some of the analysis screenshots from the Argentina games as well. But in the last 4 or 5 minutes, I'll be talking about Lautaro and Lisandro Martinez, as well as Enzo Fernandez and what I've taken from Argentina at this World Cup and how it can be applied to Manchester United. But before I go any further, let me tell you about the sponsor of today's video, PUBG Mobile, which is one of the most popular free-to-play battle royale games in the world, with over 50 million active daily users and more than 1 billion downloads in total. You can play solo, as a duo, or as a squad in battle royale mode, or one of its other 10 game modes. PUBG Mobile also offers several different skins and outfits to customize your character, and has regular collaborations with IPs like Spider-Man No Way Home and Baby Shark, along with brands like Lamborghini and Tesla, and celebrities like Blackpink and Lionel Messi. Lionel Messi is joining together with PUBG Mobile for an exclusive collaboration during the 2022 World Cup. Messi is obviously one of the best players of all time, and you can accomplish weekly activities linked to Messi content. You also get access to features such as Messi's golden shoes and other Messi customized items. You'll also get access to the PUBG Mobile Global Chicken Cup, which is an exciting football-themed festival in celebration of the 2022 World Cup, which has features such as a football theme park, a football car, and a carnival football field, just to name a few. So if you want to check out PUBG Mobile's newest collaboration with Lionel Messi, and get access to the Global Chicken Cup update, then I will leave it linked in the description and the comment section below. And once again, a big thank you to PUBG Mobile for sponsoring this video.
Argentina is one of the teams I've been following closely during this World Cup. And I think that's important, that you give some teams some extra attention during a World Cup. And seeing their progression from the first game until their win against Australia, you can see that there has been a development in how they play. A coach that have been trying to find solutions from game to game. And the interesting part is that it also showed that you cannot just rely on the form up till the World Cup, because when you are there, the intensity is completely different. The nerves are different. The expectations are different. It's an animal. And you saw it in the first game from Argentina, where they tried to play the football they have been playing leading up to the World Cup, but Saudi was pushing them high. And if you're not comfortable playing at a high technical level, physicality will win over you. And that's what Saudi did. They pushed them high. Argentina made errors. They never got into the groove, couldn't punish the high line, and they lost. Now it's all about recovering and getting over them. And this is where it gets interesting to see how the players react as individually, as a group, and how the staff around Argentina iterate. And you immediately saw Scaloni change some things up here. He went for 5 new players in the positions where he thought that they were not performing well enough against Mexico. But you could still feel the nerve. You know, it was all about playing with the handbrake, not making mistakes, just making it pop. A difficult way to play, where Mexico also pushed high up on them. And at the end, it took some magic from Messi before we saw Argentina start to get into a rhythm, into a flow. You could see that the issue until now, where we had Saudi and Mexico, was the runs in behind. So if you look at the squad, for the first 2 games it was a 4-4-2. The left side was more the playmaker winger, where we had Gomez in the first game, and in the second game he went with McAllister. On the right you then have the deep runner, which is something Di Maria can do. Di Maria can go both ways. He can receive and he can also run in behind. He's maybe not the ideal player for running in behind, but that's what Argentina has right now, and that's just the luck of Argentina with their offensive players at the moment. Then you have Messi in the 10 and Lautaro as leading 9. Lautaro wasn't doing anything in these 2 games, in my opinion. I'm not very fond of Lautaro. I've spoken about that lots of times, but I can maybe make a video about him at some point. So after 50 kg minutes against Mexico, you slowly see Scaloni again being proactive and making the changes. So he starts to get Enzo Fernandez in instead of Rodriguez, which I think had a nothing game. He didn't really pass with confidence as he does for Betis. And Paredes had the same issues in the first game. So we start to see Enzo getting in, playing with a bit more confidence, having a good rhythm in Benfica. Still lacking something. You now see Alvarez get into the game, and then the magic happens. Then Messi scores, opens up the flow. And it's not really due to the subs that this happened, but it just came at the right time, all of it. Slowly we will start to see a bit more flow from Argentina. And some minutes after that, they would switch formation. They would go with a back 3. Lisandro Martinez was playing instead of Romero. Now Romero also came into the side, so they would go to a 3-5-2 with 3 midfielders, 2 8s and 1 6, and Messi up top with Alvarez. And I think this formation suited them from the profiles. When I saw this the first time, I knew that this could actually be a formation they would maybe play in the later stages of the tournament. Because at the moment, they have been the favorite for all the games. They were the favorite against Saudi, Mexico, Poland, and Australia. But when it gets a bit more tough, I think this is the formation they will do. The formation change happens. Enzo scores at the end. It's a secure win. You can start to feel a bit of relief for the Argentinian players. 2018 was a bit in the back of their mind where they also had these issues in the group stages. And now comes Poland. And the thing about game against Poland is he made formation changes. So he went to a 4-3-3 instead of this 4-4-2 he had played. We would now see Messi as a 9 with Alvarez on the wing, giving also this runs in behind. You would still have Di Maria on the right wing, giving both run in behind but also receiving deep. You would have Alistar and Enzo Fernandez in the midfield and De Paul. And De Paul was just a story for himself during these 3 games, where he had a stinker in the first 2 in terms of technicality. But what I like about players is when they cannot perform. So what you do is you build on the negative things firstly. That means run the meters, defend, be a good fighter. And De Paul was doing that. He has a crazy engine on him, and it has been showing through this World Cup where there has been no rest for these players. So you could see in the game against Poland, he was starting to get a bit more into it, still being more of a warrior than a technical classic player. And you would see Poland sitting deep. Argentina didn't like when teams pushed up on them. They always struggled in the first phase. Now Poland would give them permission to play in the first phase, and now they would just combine in the second phase, trying to engineer runs in behind, Messi giving his famous pass to the fullback, combinations with McAllister, until something happened. A game you could feel from the start there was a bit more relief in them. The formation made also a bit more sense. It's not still the ideal formation for me. I feel the spacing in the midfield of how they occupy the spaces in defensive shape, how they attack, it's a bit too fluid, where you lose a bit of the structure. You could though say that they look good when they had to cover the transitions. Poland is also not a good transition team. They don't have the speed. So in general, I thought this game was too easy for Argentina. It was not really a good game for them in terms of where they are, but it gave them confidence. Giving them the number 1 spot, everything was good. And again, we saw in the second half, he transitioned into a 3 at the back. And then came Australia. And we saw the same formation. Di Maria was though injured, so we had to put Gomez into the side again. Again, you start to see these issues with not enough runners in behind because now you only have Alvarez. And you could feel that there was a struggle in the beginning for the team, but they slowly came into the rhythm. But again, you needed a Messi moment. And he performed that moment. The game started to flow a bit more. The team got more confident. And in the second half, it didn't take even more than 5 minutes. And he again went into this back 5. And I think the back 5 suits Argentina because of the players they have. Romero and Lisandro Martinez can also play in a 2, of course, but Romero is used to playing a 3. Left-sided center-back positioning fits Lisandro Martinez perfectly. That's why I think it's his best position. Or maybe it would invert left-back. He has been playing excellently every time he has started for Argentina or came in for Argentina. And I also think that you are solving the solution of the runs in behind with having Acuna and Molina starting higher, advanced position, providing those runs in behind from the wings now, more naturally. The 3 midfielders, I don't think it was an issue for the midfielders to play in a 3 with 4 at the back or with 3 at the back. Enzo needs to start. He played excellently against Australia in a game that was tough because they were pushing hard on them and they were very, very well drilled in their spacing. So there was not much space between the lines. Australia had some excellent coaching. I was very surprised with how well they played this game. You also give the permission to have Messi in a 10 with more defensive solidity naturally because there's 5 players behind him in the back line instead of 4. Alvarez needs to play too. So the issue is where should Di Maria play in this formation because he's naturally the winger here. And I want to play more of a 5-3-2. And it made me realize that I remember playing as a left-sided midfielder for Madrid, but also for Argentina, doing their best runs in Copa America and in the World Cup. He was playing on this left-sided midfielder driving, and I even think it was in a 5 at the back. So let's see how they will set it up against Netherlands. Will it be a back 5? He is playing it twice now in the second half. The opponent is also there in terms of mirroring what they're trying to do with their setup. It's a higher stake game. They're not the favorites. It hasn't really been a pleasure to watch Argentina, but the whole storyline about Messi through this World Cup has been so good. And let's see if he can make more stars in the next game.
So thanks to Senaziz for that analysis, and it was pretty much spot on in my opinion. As a lot of you probably know, I am a fan of Lautaro Martinez, but I don't like him in this Argentine side for tactical reasons, and it's something that if United were to sign him or a similar type of striker to him, they'd have to take into account. Lautaro is what I refer to as a deep line forward, a forward who drops off from the forward line and looks to link the attack between the lines with his back to goal. A great example of this was in the Milan derby earlier on this season, where he drops off, receives the ball under pressure with Kalulu behind him, with his back to goal, and his impact is twofold. Firstly, his movement deep has drawn one of the Milan centre-backs out of the back line, but his ability to hold off pressure and lay it off at the perfect time with the perfect weight allows Joaquin Correa to play a first-time through ball, and Brozovic breaks in behind, leading to the Croatian finishing from a one-on-one position. However, the reason I don't think that Lautaro is the right striker for this Argentine system is that in the attack they don't have the pace or runners ahead of him, and so when he drops off, the likes of Messi, Papu Gomez and Di Maria aren't breaking ahead of him into central positions, and the only player who would really provide this would be Julian Alvarez, who usually is starting instead of Lautaro alongside Messi and another creative forward, rather than alongside him. I would prefer to see Alvarez from the left side when Lautaro plays, but given that I, like Senaziz, have already said that a back three would have suited Argentina a lot better, ideally you'd want Messi playing as a playmaker in a deeper role and have another player alongside Alvarez who can provide those runs in behind. I think Lautaro would suit a player like Bruno Fernandes a lot more than like Messi, who at this stage of his career is playing more as a traditional enganche, holding deeper positions and being the player to thread the through balls rather than receiving them. Fernandes has the ability to do both, and I think Lautaro would work well with an attacking midfielder like Fernandes who can provide those forward movements ahead of his deeper ones. I still like the idea of Lautaro as Ten Hag's centre forward, as with Rashford and Fernandes, United do have the attackers who can provide those runs in behind that Argentina don't really have. However, I am now starting to think that Lautaro isn't as fluid as I would maybe like, and maybe someone like João Felix, Cody Gakpo, or Goncalo Ramos at Benfica, who are all players I am looking at doing videos on, may give Ten Hag's attack greater variety in terms of the movements they can make and how they can adapt to suit other players around them, rather than having to play one specific role, which I think is very much the case with Lautaro. Whereas my opinions on Lautaro have been slightly revised over this World Cup, someone who has massively impressed me has been Enzo Fernandez. Now for Argentina, he has been playing as the deepest midfielder of a three in a single pivot, being the player to drop deep, collecting the ball off the centre backs and at times dropping into the back line. However, certainly when watching him at Benfica, I saw him as more of a slightly more advanced central midfielder, more in the mould of an Arturo Vidal than say a Leandro Paredes or a Marco Verratti. Although he is a player who has a wide range of different assets both in and out of possession, and so I will be doing a full analysis video on him soon, so make sure you subscribe for that. But seeing Enzo Fernandez in that deeper role was interesting, as I do think United need a central midfielder alongside Casemiro who can perform that role, having the press resistance and quick passing under pressure to allow a Ten Hag side to build out even under an aggressive press, as well as Casemiro has shown how good he can be on the ball in this World Cup, which I will be talking about in a video that should hopefully be out soon, or may already be out. I don't think he's top level in this specific area, and this is why Ten Hag has been targeting someone like Frankie de Jong, as like with players like Rodri and Busquets, having a central midfielder who can drop deep and is able to swivel or play out of pressure can allow your side to play through the opposition's press and then exploit the space further up the pitch. So I think Enzo Fernandez being used in this role is definitely something that Ten Hag and Manchester United fans should be watching closely. In regards to Lisandro Martinez, I am surprised that Scaloni doesn't seem to prefer him over Otamendi alongside Romero in a back four, but we did see him alongside Otamendi against Mexico, where I thought he was very good. And also when Scaloni does move to a back five, Lisandro and Romero either side of Otamendi does seem to provide the perfect balance in a back three. If Argentina can get past the Netherlands, which you may know already if you're watching this video after the game, then I would definitely like to see Argentina go with a back three in the semis and maybe the final, as like Senaziz said earlier on, I do think this allows the wing backs Acuna and Molina to push further forward and provide the movement in behind down the flanks, whilst also allowing the likes of Messi alongside maybe McAllister and Papu Gomez to take up more central positions, giving the overall team more balance in the attack. So let me know what you think of Argentina and those three players, whether you'd like Enzo Fernandez and Lautaro Martinez, either or, at Manchester United. You can check out some of my other videos which will be in the description, check out Senaziz's channel, and make sure you subscribe, as I have got a lot more videos coming out over the next few weeks or so.